I just want to share some thoughts with you that I've been having recently. We've been going through a COVID season for 2 years now, and Christmas is coming up, and we're still in it. Not as bad as it was, but we're still there. And I really want us to think about this, even though it's a bad season and we've been through really tough times. I believe God is working in it to bring about his plan and purpose. Now, he did not cause it, but he will use it for his plan and purpose and work to make us into Jesus' image. Romans 8 says, all things work together for good for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. And his purpose is to change us into the image of Jesus, that he might be the first of many sons and daughters. And so we're being made in his image. And it's when we go through difficult times that happens. And I want to share some things that have happened in my life, and you may have the same things in yours. I would say one of the first things was my priorities changed. At the beginning of COVID, when we couldn't go out, we couldn't do things. For me, I had time on my hands. That's not true for everybody, I know. Some of you may have had to work harder. But for me, I had a lot of time. And I thought it was an opportunity to spend more time with God, to get closer to him. But I actually, even though I knew that, I had a hard job actually putting it into action. And even though I didn't know what to do with myself, I wasn't spending that time with him. And I finally realized, no, this is a priority. I have to make it a priority. And so I started going for daily walks where I would talk to him, and I would spend time and I would pray, and I would sit in my car and pray, and I would just spend time in his presence. And through that process, I've grown so much, got so much closer to him, so much more easy to listen and to hear and to know what he's doing. And it's been such a blessing. And I wouldn't give that up for anything. And it's established a pattern in my life that I want to keep that way, and I will fight to keep that time that I have with him, because I believe it's imperative at this time that we grow in our intimacy with him. Because in the future, these things will happen again, and we'll need to know how to go through it in the right way. One of the things he's done in my life, I have a lot of family in the UK. I'm in Canada. And through the time at the beginning, we decided to start doing Zoom calls every week. And we have grown so much closer as a family, closer than we ever have been in all my life. And that's another thing we don't want to give up, because it's so good to have that family connection, especially when you don't have other people around you that you can contact. And the discovery of Zoom at this time and the internet has been such a blessing. Now, I know in the churches, having to stop doing services in the regular way forced us into doing something different. And in my church, Zoom for us was the answer. Many people did online on live on YouTube or something to that point, but we wanted where we could connect with each other as well as having a service, so we would be able to speak to each other. And so we did Zoom, and it was a blessing. We actually, at that time, I think, had a better connection than we did when we were in the Sunday service. And now, even though we can meet in the church, we have continued to do Zoom as well, because we have people that wouldn't be in our church otherwise because they live at a distance. And I believe that through that, we will continue to do things differently, because I think for the church as a whole, we have learned to use the internet to be able to share and to connect with people that we never would normally. And so it's been a huge blessing. And for me, through that process, I've also started doing these videos, which I never would have done. The last thing I ever thought was that I would be putting videos on the internet. That was not my plan, but it was God's plan, and He led me into it. And so here I am. And I am so blessed by what He's done in my life during this time. And I know for some it's been much harder than others, and you may have suffered losses. But in spite of all of that, I believe that the church has benefited during this season from what we have learnt going through it. Because God planned for us to learn lessons in this time that we will need in the future. None of it's going to be wasted. And He loves us so much that He has walked alongside us and led us every step of the way, guiding us in the way to go and showing us how to do things. And I believe right now the way to do things is to look at the positive, not to look at the negatives, to focus on what is good and lovely and of good report, to focus on those things that we've seen happen in our own lives, in our churches, in others that have come out of this, that have been blessings, that have been for the good, that have caused us to grow in ways we never would have otherwise. And I thank God for what He's done in my life and in my church's lives to change us and to cause us to grow. And I think the biggest blessing is bringing us into a place where we had no excuse for not having an intimate relationship with Him. We had no excuse not to turn to Him and seek Him out, because we were given the time. In most cases, we were given time. And if you weren't, then I believe He still worked in your lives. And so I want to leave you with that we would praise God and thank Him and look at the things that have changed, look at the things that are right and lovely, and focus on them and look ahead to see where He's going next, and look for it to be an adventure in growing and learning and following Him. There's a joy in doing that, and I just bless you with the ability to see the positive, to look at Him and see what He's doing, and to get your eyes off those things that would pull you down and pull you back. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you next week. Bye for now. What?